a second here. All right, so we'll record the last 20 minutes. I forgot to turn the recording on. We were talking about, buying 4.5 of these and paying cash for them, but over the long, so actually let's do this. Let me show you something really quick. All right, let me go back here. Here's the place in Indiana, right? Remember, if we put 25% down, we're cash flow positive. Now this tells you so now I go over to the second page and there's all these columns, right? And if you go, this one's cash on cash, meaning I invest this much cash and how much cash am I getting back in a year? It's not talking about appreciation. We're just talking how much cash am I getting back every year for the amount of cash I'm putting in. I like to have everything to have at least some cash flow coming in. So even if I needed to put 30% down, I would put 30% down just to ensure that I have some cash going in. It's going to go up over time, as you can see in this column, right? I don't know if you guys can see those numbers because it's pretty small, but over time it goes up. Year one, it's 1%, but then you go up to whatever. And by year 30, you're at 18% for the amount of money you put in. But when you look at the overall return on, when we analyze an investment over the long haul, we're including appreciation plus cash flow, all of it put together. We want to know, you spent X, 10 years later, how much did you get back and why? How much money did you get back? How much did you sell it for? But in addition, how much cash, if you added it all up over the years, what was the total ROI, right? The total, when all was said and done, and that's the true measure of an investment, right? Return on investment. There's no more accurate number on what is the total return on your investment. And that's this number here in this last column. Now this one, when it says after COS, that's after cost of sale. That's assuming you had sold it that year. So first thing you can see is almost all real estate, you don't want to sell it the year you bought it because you'll lose because you have to pay for all the stuff to sell it, right? So no one should be surprised by that. But this is like the true measurement, and that's why it's the last column here of like, how is this thing going to perform over time, right? So you have the accumulated total return. This is in dollars, and then this is in percentage. Really, when we're comparing apples to oranges, this is what we want to look at is over time, what was the percent, right? So let's take this one and let's do two things. So this was if we put down 25% down, right? So we're only investing $115,000. We're taking a mortgage out for most of it, which by the way, also produces some tax advantages as well. But just not even taking into account the tax advantages, just on the return on investment. If we look down on this column, row 33, which is at year 30, right? Now don't look into the amount because remember, it's all about the percent because you could have bought 4 of these houses or bought 25% of 4 of them, right? So either pay cash for 1 or buy 4 of them. So we're going to analyze which is better. Do you pay cash up front or do you put 25% down? So this one, if we put down 25% down, tells us the return is 957.9%. That's a whole, over 30 years, that thing's going to appreciate like crazy. Now let's go back and let's do 100% down. And look at this. The total return, 408%. That's less than half. Even at today's interest rates. So what does that say? What's the better investment? Buying all cash or putting 25% down?
20%.
All day long. All day long. And by the way, that's not even taking into account the advantage, the payments being tax deductible, right?
And the other thing that I was thinking about too while we're going through these exercises, we haven't even taken a dive into adding value to the existing property, right? So Miguel was saying this is a pretty big lot, right? So maybe if you added another bedroom and bath, right, now you're adding value to like a resale or even buy and hold to rent it for even more, and you're building in a higher appreciate or equity into it by doing that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, yeah. One of the best things you can do is, and they talk about this in the book we're reading, it was like a chapter or two ago when they talk about one of the best things you can do is repurpose the property, whether you're adding another unit onto the property, right? Which is possible. I don't know about this neighborhood here, but we know that's certainly possible around California. But also, like Gary gives the example of they found one I believe it was a residential property, but they realized it was zoned dual, or they realized that they could change the zoning on it. They changed the zone, made it commercial, put in, what was it, like a gas station or something? It's been a while since I read it. And suddenly that property was like worth triple of what it was worth before, just because they were able to change the use, which is super smart, right? So yeah, anytime you can do anything like that, you got to be smart and know what you're doing, because you don't want to get stuck and not be able to change it. Bye, Tamara, so good to have you. You don't want to get stuck in assuming that you can make a change and then not be able to change it. But if you've done your homework right, that's absolutely a fantastic way to make something worthwhile. And by the way, I mentioned about I'm kind of bearish on investing in the LA area. I say that, but if I found something that was a flip potential or something that I thought was awesome, if I crunch the numbers on it, it's good. I'm certainly not opposed to it. I just haven't found anything that I really love as far as something to buy and own and hold over the long time.
Yeah, I think you were talking about a couple of calls back about a property, a condo in, what was it, like Rancho Palo Verde or something like that? Yeah.
That's right. Up in Rancho and RPD. My clients bought it, and I remember doing the numbers on it in my head, thinking like, I bet you I could flip this property. And we analyzed it on this call, and we found that indeed they could have flipped that property. So it was a great deal for them. I mean, they chose not to flip it, but when I told them, like, hey, you guys, if you ever want to, you have like so much equity built into this property that if you just fixed it up, you could turn around and sell it anytime you guys want to. And they bought it for her mom, and she's going to live there for now, but her mom is older. So whether now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, whatever it is, I don't want to be morbid, but at some point, if her mom left, were to pass away or move into another property or not have it not work for her, then certainly they can fix it up at that point and then turn around and sell it. And they, because they got such an awesome deal on it, they would gain from that, that flip potential is always going to be there for them. Anyway, what else you guys got? Comments on all that we're talking about?
So what did you say we're going to do from here on forward?
So we're talking, for now, we're going to keep investing, analyzing some investments. We're going to go back next week. I want to go back to the book. We're on page. So right now we are on. Oh yeah. So pages 226 till the end of that chapter, which is somewhere right around here. Okay, 226 to 252. Let's do that next week. Let's cover that, and then we'll go from there.
I'm sorry. What's the title of the book?
I'm sorry. Millionaire Real Estate Investor.
Okay, thank you.
Not to be confused with Millionaire Real Estate Agent, the one that we all know and love. This is the blue book, as it's called.
Okay, thank you.
And it's available anywhere. In fact, your market center may have some extra copies. I did have a bunch here, but I'm almost out now. But yeah, you just ask your team leader if he has any extra copies. They may have some.
Okay.
And just to kind of recap, so is it, by the way, is it Ceci or Cece? How do you pronounce your name?
My name's Cecilia, but then it's so long, so I have a lot of nicknames. I have different friends call me Ceci, Cece. I go by all of them.
Okay, awesome. So Ceci, just to recap for you and for everybody else. So some of the things that we've learned along the way is Gary recommends figuring out what is your net worth. There's by the way, I don't know if are you part of the Facebook group? There's a Facebook group that corresponds to this class or investing.
And so that I could get the documents. Yeah.
Are you already a member? Does anybody need the link to join? Well, if anybody needs it here,
No, yeah,
I'll put it in the chat bar. If anybody is not already a part of the group, feel free to join. There's a network calculator in there that's really good. It comes from Win, Make, Give, that website we were talking about. That's awesome. I recommend using that. And then what's really crucial is not just like analyzing your net worth once, but then doing it like at least once a month, if not every week. Like you just go through, and it'll only take you like once you get good at it, it should only take you like 10 minutes. But you just go in there and once a week figure out what is your net worth and how is it changing over time. That's really, really powerful. Just doing that alone will cultivate some great habits. I've kind of gotten in the habit of doing that since we all started meeting up a few months back. It's been amazing for me. The other habit he talks about is, figuring out what are your incomes and what are your expenses, and just, I mean, you don't have to be go over it with a fine tooth comb, but just you should have some idea on, how much are you making and how much are you spending on a monthly basis to kind of know where you're at, and then you can try to cut down your expenses some to have more money for investing. Anyways, guys, unless anybody else have anything else you want to go over? All right, so next week, please make sure you're prepared and have those pages read, because we're going to go over that. And I don't want it to be like me just teaching it. I want it to be like everybody's read it and we talk about what did we read. So we'll cover that.
What's the pages again? I'm sorry. What's the pages again?
The pages are 226 through 226. Right?
The end of the chapter.
To the end of the chapter, which is, I believe, 252, right?
Which chapter number is it?
It's the end of Buy a Million. It's the last section of Buy a Million. And it covers the term, like, using the term sheet for buy and sell or buy and flip. Buy and hold or buy and flip.
And Ed, how often are we, is there something where we can also, if I could just make a suggestion for the group and see if we do this on like maybe we leave a homework assignment for a property that we're going to analyze and we bring back our own numbers type of thing. So is that something
I
we could
love
do?
that. That would be super cool. We should do that. Yeah, let's do that, Amelia. Anybody want to pick out a property? I'll post one on the Facebook group. Let's do 3929 Overlake Drive in Denton, Texas. And there's a reason why I'm choosing that property. I'll tell you guys about it next week.
Can you repeat the address, please? Which one is it?
3929 Overlake Drive,
Okay,
Denton, Texas.
got it.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, Ed.
All right, you guys. I'll see y'all next week. That's fun.
All right.
Thanks, Ed.
Appreciate it. Bye.